All right. Well, thank you for joining us, by the way, Jew. Like,
When did you get him?
I did a magic trick.
So
Yo, y'all
get
should
into
do that, yeah.
my next topic. You have a lot of great content on your page. I'm not gonna hold you.
I appreciate that, bro.
You had a post about black men looking for women to build with, right?
Yeah.
And very much especially on our show, we deal with a lot of women who are not in the business of building with a man.
Yeah, I see that.
So what are your thoughts about the whole concept of building with your partner?
Yeah. It's very interesting, right? Like when you think about, I'm all about building a better black community. And when I really sat down and thought about how do we build a better black community, it starts with the black family, right? And so I think about if we talk about heterosexual relationships, black man, black woman, and that's why I create that relationship content. And that's why I talk about building with a black woman, right? Especially for us as black men, and having a woman that that is down to build with you. I think the problem that we fall into is that we don't know how to determine, or some of us don't know how to determine whether or not a woman is able to build with us or wants to build with us, right? We get caught up in sex and looks and what she's saying and all these different things. It's like, bro, if you ask a certain number of questions, like you can really quickly be able to tell where a woman's mindset is at.
Right.
You really only need maybe 3 to 5 questions. Like, what are you trying to do in life? Like, where are you trying to go? Right? Depending on her answer right then and there, you could probably chop it right then and there. If she can't even, you know what I'm saying? If you can't give me 3 to 5 year plan, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Why am I even, we can't build. You don't know how to build for yourself, so we can't build. You can't build with me if you can't, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't got something that you could build for yourself, right? So right then and there, what are you doing with your life? What do you want out of a partner? That right there, we don't even ask that. We don't even ask that.
That's a great question.
At all. It's like, what do you want out of a partner? Now that you tell me what you want, I can be able to determine, I can make a Venn diagram in my head. I can see what I have, what you said you want, and what we have in common. If what we have in common isn't more than what I just have or what you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't make no sense. I'm not even gonna keep going. So that's another question. A third question is, are you healing? Are you looking to heal? Are you in therapy? Are you focusing on your mental health? What does that process look like for you, right? Because those two, the 2 answers before could be great. It could be, oh yeah, I got this 5-year plan and I'm looking for this in a man. And you're like, oh yeah, everything's cool. Then when we get to the healing, like, nah, I ain't, I've been cheated on and my pops left when I was this age and blah, blah. Nah, I ain't going to therapy. What I need to go to therapy for? Watch when y'all get in a relationship. Because what's going to end up happening, you're going to have this really driven girl. Everything going to be cool. Y'all power couple. Everything's straight. But underneath all that, there's no foundation for y'all to have real conversations about stuff. Y'all having issues when it comes to conflict resolution, all these different things because healing hasn't occurred. And y'all are not in the healing process. So once you start asking those 3 questions, it's like, okay, I can't build with you if you have certain answers. And now if you have different answers, it's like, okay, let's see how we can make this work. But because we're so interested in dating and messing around and sex and all this other stuff, we end up getting in all these situationships and relationships that aren't good for us, bro. And then that's when you end up having people on social media. It's like, oh, all black women like this, all black men like this. I can't find the right one. Where they at? I don't know where they at, blah, blah. It's because you ain't looking properly.
Right. That's true. All right, I got a 2-part question for you.
Go ahead.
All right, so you brought up mental health. All right, so one I want to think is, as a black man, we always get stuck in the place where we try to decide if we go to therapy, do we speak to another black man or does it matter the sex, the color of it, anything like that?
Yeah.
Because then you be in this this white man can't tell me about what I'm going through.
It does matter.
And sometimes you feel like, oh, maybe I'm just overthinking and maybe I should think outside the box with getting somebody outside my race.
So here's my response to that, bro. I'll tell you what my experience was. And this is what we talk about when we talk about solution-based thinking, right? This is a prime example of that. My personal experience, right? When I was looking for a therapist my first time, I had just gotten out of a relationship where I got cheated on with a black woman. And my thought process was, all women are evil. And so I was like, I did some self-reflection. I'm like, I know this is probably not the best thought process to have, but this is the thought process that I have right now. I don't want to talk to a black man about this because I feel like I've gotten enough conversations with black men about I've been talking to my bros all my damn life.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I've been talking to the bros all my life. I need a woman's perspective, and I also needed that nurturing from a woman. I needed to build a better connection with black women because I knew that my connection had got messed up based off the relationship that I was in. And so for me, that was my thought process, and that's why I chose a black woman as my therapist. Now, I'm not saying if you get cheated on as a black man, you have to choose a black woman. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to do that self-reflection for yourself to understand what you need out of your therapist. Do you need a man because you feel more comfortable and you want to have that locker room talk kind of vibe? Or do you need a woman because you want that more kind of nurturing love and you also want to have a difference in perspective that will help you when it comes to relationships and all that kind of stuff, right? And I'm not saying that a black man can't nurture. Yeah. I'm just saying that sometimes it can be better coming from a black woman, right? Like a lot of us sometimes have relationships with our mothers that aren't the healthiest. And so when you get into therapy and you have a black woman as your therapist, she can help you to fix that relationship through her relationship with you. And it's something called, I think it's called transference, right? Where we don't even know that it's going on, or well, I as a client don't know what's going on, but the therapist knows that she's basically playing a motherly role in certain sessions, and she's using that to help facilitate healing. So that's another big thing, right? Like think about your parents and your like the kind of trauma that you've had growing up. If you had a bad relationship with your pops, maybe you do want to have a black man. If you had a bad relationship with your mom, maybe you do want to have a black woman, right? And that can kind of also help to figure out your decision. And subconsciously, we kind of make these decisions anyway, because I didn't have the best relationship with my mom because she worked a lot. And so I'm thinking I'm choosing a black woman because I want a difference in perspective, but really on a subconscious level, I'm choosing a black woman because I wanted to also bridge that relationship that I didn't have with my mom, that relationship that I wish I had with my mom.
That's crazy. Okay, so even in that, with a relationship, right? Do you say that people should go separately or do couples therapy?
It depends on the situation, right? Like, so I know a lot of people are like, oh, after they cheat, you should break up with them. And I'm part of that train, right? But there's people that go through infidelity, they go to couples therapy and they good. Everything's good after that, right? So I'm not gonna say to not do something based on a certain situation. All I'm gonna say is understand where you are at and what you're feeling, and then figure out what you want to do. But I always, like, we were just talking about couples therapy, right? Like I was telling you, Ace, right?
Eli, that's Ace.
Oh, Ace, my fault, bro.
Yeah,
Eli, my fault. I was telling Eli, I was like, yo, bro, I had couples therapy right before I came into this, and you was about to ask me like, yo, bro, like, you good? Like, what happened?
Everything all right?
Yeah, like, I was like, yeah, like, I'm straight. And this is what happens, right? Like, we think that because somebody's in therapy, like, oh shit, like this thing got some crazy shit going. You know what I'm saying? Like, behind the scenes, he got some crazy shit going on. Like, they beat each other up or some shit. Like, nah, bro, like, we straight. Like, we straight. It's just certain things. Like, what I was telling you is like, yo, we got certain things that we deal with on a like a conflict level, or like a disagreement where it's like nobody's heated, nothing crazy, but it's good to have a mediator in the middle of that to understand where we're both coming from and get to a solution or have a path forward. And so that's what our couples therapist helps us with, man. Like, really helps us with understanding each other on a better level so that we can better our relationship.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
And I think that's where the stigma is really stopping people from flourishing, because people want to go to couples therapy when you have a problem. You go to couples therapy just to make the relationship better. And like, nothing could be wrong.
Yeah, not even just couples therapy in general.
Exactly. But I want to ask one question about your first question, the 3 to 5 year plan that you say you ask on.
Yeah.
Dates, right? Cause men is looked at.
I don't ask that on dates, but I don't ask that on dates, but I figure it out over time. Yeah,
right.
Go ahead.
So men are supposed to be the leader in a relationship, right? So if a woman doesn't come in with a 3 to 5 year plan, but you're the leader, can't you work with her to help her? You know what I mean?
We're getting into a deep conversation, right? We put ourselves in the position of like trying to facilitate everybody's life around us. And I understand that that's important in a sense, but we have to understand that the people around us are also individuals. I can't tell you how to run the podcast. You know what I'm saying? You need to have, and I understand that you're a man, right? But at the end of the day, right? Like, we need to understand people are individuals. Like, so while we want to be able to protect, provide, and lead, we have to be able to allow people to lead their lives themselves, and then figure out how we can help and support. And I think in a lot of our relationships, we come in thinking that we got to be Superman and doing everything, when shorty got to come in with some kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, she got to come in with something. Because then what did she just do? She just cook and clean? Like, bro.
Shit, they ain't even doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah,
It's a positive episode.
You good. But nah, for real, right? Like, that's not what it should be, right? Like, we got to get out of this, like, believe me, I'm for traditional relationships. I want my girl to cook, clean, take care of those kind of things. But I also want my girl to have a mind. You know what I'm saying? I want her to have goals of her own. And I want to be able to support her in those and have her support me in mine as well. So when I say, what's your 3 to 5 year plan? What I'm really asking is, do you have goals and aspirations and dreams outside of just being in a relationship? Because if it's just you want to just be in a relationship, I don't know what we're doing. Because I'm going to go and get mine, but you got to go and get yours too. Right? And then we can figure out how to make those things work together. So that's what I'm interested in. I want my shorty to be a go-getter. I want her to go and get hers too, and me help her and figure out how to go and do that.
Imagine them 3 to 5 years. She like, yeah, I just want to cook and clean for you. Like, like, what the fuck?
But go ahead, guys.
Like, this is why I feel like that concept of building together is important, because if one person is expected to have all the resources and the other one is just kind of draining them from the resources until they have none, and now it's like, all right, well, you don't have no more resources, on to the next. Like, then it's like, well, you know, that's why the concept of building together, I find, is way more important for our community.
Yes.
When we had, I look back in like the 60s and I can't get the specific years right, like, you know, Dr. Umar or some shit like that. But, you know, you look at those time frames, the past, and you see that the Black community was way more strong and united than obviously it is now, because people had family, that foundation, that nuclear family, that structure in their lives. And obviously the Black community benefited from that. You know what I mean? So like you said, with those questions, was pretty powerful, actually.
Yeah. Let me add this to that, right? Like, when I think about our relationship, like just me and my girl, I think about the fact that she's coming in with her set of goals and dreams. I'm coming in with mine, and we're trying to figure out how we can better each other's lives and how we can support each other. And when I think about building, I think a lot of times we come into this relationship, and as men, we get all of the pressure put on us to figure something out for the entire family. You know how stressful that is, bro?
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And then we take that as like, this is a badge of honor. Like, this is what we should be doing. Like, yes, I have the pleasure of being able to take my family out of poverty. Bro, that's a hard thing to do for just one person. That's hard as hell. Yeah. Like, bro, I don't want that stress on me, bro. I got enough stuff that I'm dealing with. I don't need to be the person that's bringing everybody in my family out of poverty. Right. If I'm getting into a relationship, I want my shorty to be thinking about that as well and figuring out ways that we can both work on that. Not just me, because it puts a lot of financial stress on you as the man in a relationship. And a lot of relationships end up failing. A lot of marriages end up failing due to what? Finances, bro.
Do you have these conversations with independent women?
What you mean independent women?
I mean the ones that
I don't talk. See, this is the thing, right? Y'all, let me tell y'all something right now.
Because
bro.
I mean, I think every dude thinks like how you're thinking right now. But imagine having that conversation with.
I don't do that. Why am I doing that, bro? For what? Tell me why am I gonna go talk to an independent woman about these kind of things?
To give different perspectives.
It's cool to give different perspectives, but we also have to understand that there's certain people that are already hell, like what we talked about earlier, that are hell bent on having.
She already on that independent. Her mind is already set.
You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, right? I think we need to change independent woman, right? Because there's a lot of my shorty's an independent woman. She can do everything on her own if she wants to, right? She chooses not to because she knows that she has me. So it's not an independent woman thing. It's a woman that needs healing kind of thing. It's a hyper independence thing. Because independence and hyper independence are completely different, right? And it can happen in men and women. Right. So I think a lot of times, like, we get into these conversations with women that are calling themselves independent women. One's like, no, you're hyper independent. That's a trauma response. Like,
you can be independent outside of the relationship.
When you need to be independent. Here's the thing, right? I don't want you hitting me up all day, every day. Y'all don't want that. Y'all do want an independent woman. Because we have those conversations like, yo, bro, damn, shorty calling me again, bro. Right. Like, imagine if I came in here and I was on the phone with my shorty the whole time. I had FaceTime sitting right here. You know what what I'm saying? I'm like, I can't get on Facebook. You know, like we don't need that, bro. We want her to be
But this is why I always talk about the word
Right.
interdependence. Like, you know, we don't talk about that enough in our community because independent or nothing. Like,